Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. In this video, we are going to explore what work life actually looks like across different career sectors. For each of these, we will look at the nature of work, the skills required, career growth, professional network, work life balance, field versus office exposure, and what a typical day looks like. The idea is simple: to help you understand, explore, and align your career choices with your interests, strength, and aspiration. So, what is work life like in an NGO? At its core, it is a two front role. On one side, you are working with funders, handling reports, proposals, targets, and compliances. On the other, you are working directly with communities, farmers, gram panchayats, and other stakeholders. And a key part of the job is facilitating and traveling for field visits, sometimes to remote villages and difficult to reach locations. You could find yourself working in hills, forests, rural communities, and places with very different cultures and ways of life. The real challenge is balancing funder expectations with ground realities while coordinating with government and other stakeholders to deliver impact at scale. The learning curve can be very high. You build skills in domain knowledge, data and Excel, communications, stakeholder management, project management, reporting, problem solving, and adaptability. And career progression can take you from field roles to program leadership and eventually heading programs. Work life balance is generally moderate. Field requirements, deadlines, and emergencies can sometimes stretch working hours, so planning and prioritizations matter. But if you are someone who loves working with communities, traveling to remote and peaceful places, experiencing different cultures, and solving real problems on the ground, NGO work can be very rewarding career. Now let's talk about banks and MFIs. Here, money, risk, and customer relationship are at the center of the work. You could work across credit, relationship management, portfolio management, recovery operations, or move towards product and business development. If you are interested in the product side, the work goes beyond finance. You need to understand the customer problem, the product life cycle, how the product performs in the market, the risk associated with it, and how the product needs to evolve over time. Because you are dealing with money, accountability and risk are significantly higher. Portfolio quality, repayment, recovery, and financial decisions can directly affect the business, and that can make some roles demanding. But that higher responsibility is also reflected in the incentives, which is generally quite competitive, particularly as you move into higher responsibility roles. The sectors offer a fairly structured career path with opportunities across credit, sales, operations, risk, product, and strategy. There is also a clear difference in field exposures. Banks are generally more office oriented, while MFIs involve much more field work, customer visits, loan sourcing, disbursements, and recovery. So, if you are comfortable with financial decision making, risk, and accountability, banking can be a strong career. Now, let's talk about international agencies. If you want to work on development issues at a global scale, this is very interesting space. The work involves designing and managing programs, working with governments and implementing partners, and using research, evidence, and data to influence development decisions. A large part of the work is analytical, program evaluation, policy analysis, research, proposal development, reporting, and stakeholder coordination. The learning curve is very high. You get exposure to different countries, development contexts, and global approaches, while build a network of researchers, policymakers, donors, and development professionals. The skill requirements are also strong: deep thematic expertise, analytical thinking, research, strong writing, program management, and cross cultural collaboration. And getting into these organizations often requires strong academic credentials such as relevant degree or fellowship from a reputed internationally accredited institutions along with relevant experience. Work-life balance is generally structured and good, although proposal deadlines, measure reviews, international calls, and travel can create intense times. Overall, it offers high impact work, global exposure, strong professional network, and significant learning opportunities. Now let's look at cooperatives. Working in a cooperative is quite different because you are balancing two priorities. At the same time, building a strong, sustainable business while also creating value for the members. On the business side, you could work on sales and marketing, market research, product categories, pricing, distribution, and business development. On the member side, you are working closely with farmers and members, understanding their needs, improving products and services, and strengthening the value they get from the cooperative. So this is a good space if you want to understand how market actually works from both the sides, the business side and the producers or member side. You get exposure to customers, suppliers, distributor markets, government and cooperatives governance system. The skill set is therefore quite broad. Sales and marketing, market analysis, product management, negotiations, stakeholder management, operations and supply chains, along with financial and data understanding. Career growth can be quite structured in well managed cooperatives, and strong performers can move from executive and managerial roles into senior management and leadership positions. The work can be demanding, especially in sales and marketing, where targets, travel, and stakeholders' expectations can stretch your working hours. But as you move towards leadership and strategic roles, the balance can improve. Now let's talk about VCs. VC is essentially about finding promising business, understanding the problem they are solving, evaluating the opportunity, and deciding where to invest capital. The work does not stop at investment. You also work with portfolio companies on growth, strategy, and fundraising. One of the toughest part is that finding a genuinely good venture is difficult. You need to constantly understand markets, business models, innovation, competition, financials, cash flows, and the scalability of a business. So reading, research, and analysis become part of your everyday work. The skill set is therefore quite demanding: strategic thinking, market and opportunity assessment, financial understanding, valuation, investment analysis, data interpretation, storytelling, and strong communication. The learning curve is extremely high because you are exposed to different industries, entrepreneurs, investors, and innovation ecosystem. You also build a very strong peer network, often working alongside people from top business schools and institutions in India and internationally. But this comes with a trade-off. VC can be hectic, high-pressure career with multiple daily evaluation, founder meetings, investment rounds, and portfolio requirements happening simultaneously. The remuneration is generally quite competitive, particularly as you move into higher responsibility investment roles. So VC is a career where you constantly learn, analyze, and make high-stakes decisions. And if you enjoy that intensity, the exposure and learning can be exceptional. Now let's talk about corporate work life. Corporate careers are primarily about driving business, delivering results, and managing multiple priorities. Whether you are in operations, sales, strategy, finance, HR, or CSR, the initial years can be very rigorous. You may be pushed beyond what you studied, learning new functions, handling targets, and adapting quickly to the organization's ways of working. And technical skills alone are not enough. Communication, stakeholder management, and diplomacy become extremely important when you are dealing with different teams, seniors, clients, and partners. In sales and business roles, you may also have to balance distributor expectations with management expectations, which can sometimes be challenging. If you are in sales or business roles, be prepared for significant field movement, visiting distributors, retailers, customers, and project sites, depending on the business. Career growth is generally structured and performance driven, while work life balance varies by role. Deadlines, audits, business crises, and critical projects can make certain periods intense. Overall, corporate life can be demanding, particularly in the beginning, but it offers strong business exposure, professional networks, and a steep learning curve. Think tanks are primarily about research, analysis, and influencing policy. You study a problem, analyze evidence and data, and translate that into reports, recommendations, and actionable policy insights. This is a highly research and writing intensive career. You will spend significant time on literature review, secondary research, data analysis, and report writing. But you will also be involved in workshops, consultations, presentations, and discussions with policymakers and other stakeholders. And communication here is much more than presentation skills. Diplomacy matters. Knowing what to say, what not to say, how to write professional emails, and how to communicate with different stakeholders is extremely important. You also need strong ownership and an executive presence when representing your organization. The learning curve can be very high. You get exposure to complex issues and can gradually build deep domain expertise, along with a strong network of researchers, economists, academics, policymakers, and government officials. One common criticism of think tanks is that they can sometimes be too removed from the ground, with limited exposure to actual field realities. So, maintaining a connection with what is happening on the ground becomes important if your research is to remain practical and relevant. Work-life balance is generally moderate to good, although publication deadlines, projects, and policy submissions can create intense time. Now let's talk about building your own enterprise. This is probably the most high risk, high responsibility and high freedom career path we have discussed. In the beginning, you are doing almost everything: understanding the problem, speaking to customers, testing solutions, building the product, finding the market, and making the business sustainable. The journey usually starts very field heavy. You spend time with customer and users, validating the problem and building trust. As the enterprise grows, your role gradually shifts towards strategy, fundraising, team building, systems, and scaling. The skill requirement is therefore very broad: problem solving, business model thinking, financial understanding, fundraising, marketing, leadership, communication, negotiation, resilience, jargons, and you have to keep learning continuously. The biggest advantage is control. You decide what to build, who to work with, where to take the business, and how fast to grow. The freedom can be incredibly rewarding, but it can also be frustrating because every major decision and every problem ultimately comes back to you. Work life balance can therefore be difficult. The hours can be unpredictable, priorities keep changing, and the mental and emotional load can be high. But if the enterprise succeeds, the rewards can also be significant through impact, independence, leadership, and equity ownership. That's all for today's video. We will see you soon in the next one. Thank you for watching.